So hey guys, I'm here with my wife, Stephanie. Why don't you say hello real quick?
Hi.
And probably yesterday or the day before, she handed me this box, which you guys see on your screen, and it was full of cash. And so it kind of got me an idea, because I know a lot of people want to make some fast cash, and there's a place you can do it, and we're going to share with you exactly, step by step what my wife did in order to make this happen. And the cool thing is, she made well over $1,000 in less than 7 days. She probably could have done a lot faster, especially with the stuff that we're going to teach you guys.
It was not an ideal week either.
Yeah,
it was rough.
So saying that, whether you've got your own job, whether whatever you're doing, if you're looking for something to do on the side to bring some extra cash in, this is a quick and easy strategy to be able to do, and to be able to make things happen. But before we get into more things, I want to share with you one thing. We are at our house, so this is first time we're ever recording in our actually a new house, but not only that, we actually we are a family. We're at a house. Our kids aren't here right now, and so we're trying to utilize this time. And we do have animals, which you can kind of hear. Maybe my dog, because we put him in his crate, and you might hear him in the background. We also have a cat loves to come play with us. She might come in and sit on the thing, and we might have some weird stuff happening from there. And also, it decided to start raining as soon as we sat down. We started hearing the thunder. But we're about to bring the thunder with this, and let you guys get started, and share with you guys a few things about this. So. But anyway, I want to tell you guys a couple of quick things that's really, really cool about what we're going to be talking about, Facebook, which is the Facebook Marketplace, because this is how to make fast cash with the Facebook Marketplace. And one of the biggest things, which most people don't realize this, Facebook Marketplace really has a lot of eBay investors spooked, because the fact is now you have an opportunity to tap into 1.7 billion monthly users that can buy your stuff online. And but not only that, right now on Facebook, and you might not know this, but right now on Facebook, people use Facebook groups to buy and sell stuff, and that's 450 million people already use that to make it happen. And the cool thing is, and it's 1,000 times better, this is 1,000 times better than Craigslist, it's 1,000 times better than, I think, eBay too. And the reason is because it's tough to get scammed. Because, if you think about this, and literally, everybody, that on Facebook, you have profiles. So the cool thing is that that tells us tons of information. And unlike Craigslist, where you don't know anything about anybody, about the buyer, you don't know anything about the seller, and basically, you're just, the only thing is is just the communication you have back and forth. So the cool thing is you do get to know who the heck you're selling to. You don't have to worry, and the cool thing is, and I'll share this probably again, is on Facebook, they now on the app, they put the marketplace smack dab in the middle of the app. So you'll see it right there if you're looking at the app. Now, I'm going to be doing this when we're going through, and Steph's going to be walking you through, my wife's going to be walking you through the Facebook Marketplace and giving you tips and tricks and things that you need to know in order to really take advantage of this. But I'm bringing that up is because we're going to be showing you guys on the inside the desktop version. Now, you guys can do this on desktop, you can do this on the app, and I will tell you 90%, actually 99, probably all the time, she's pretty much using her phone to do this. So you guys can use your phone to do this too. And it's the same thing. It's a mirror image of what we're going to show you. The only thing different is getting there. So and getting there, if you open up your app, if you have the app, you open there, you have the little thing right in the middle to be able to do that. But the cool thing is if you can take pictures and type a few words and push a button, then you can easily do this. And like I said, and the cool thing is the whole family can participate, in a meaning sense that, of course, you've got to be 18 years of old or older to do this. But the fact is, so like my wife, I will say my daughter likes to take my wife's phone out of her hands when she finds something. She takes a picture. She says, "Hey, can I sell this?" And so my daughter takes it and sells it and makes money too. So this is they have their own box of money. Same thing with my son. He actually just sold some Legos the other day. From there. So it's a cool thing. And like I said, you can quickly start with a tap of a button. You can do it on your desktop, your phone, and it's really as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. And the one thing my wife actually brought up is the fact that it's it's instant. You get an instant audience and you get quick sales. And I will tell you this, literally, she just put up something the other day and it literally sold within an hour. So, I mean, or even quicker than that. It just took them a little bit that long to just come over and meet. And the cool thing is also it costs you nothing to do this. Unlike most places where they have fees, they have, different things like that. There is no fees. It doesn't cost you anything to do this. And the cool thing is it works now and it puts results in your pockets. And you get results this week. You actually get results within hours. Actually, you're following this. And the coolest thing about it is the fact that you put a little effort into this method and you'll get results pretty quickly. So with that being said, let's go in and let's walk you through. Let's get you started on the Facebook Marketplace. Now, like I said, what you're going to need to do right now, because there's a couple steps. If you're on the app, which my wife is looking at her app, I'm going to go and kind of be her hands on the computer and on your computer. So let me just kind of exit out of here and let me go to her Facebook account. And so this is her Facebook account. I'm going to show you so you can see it's sold. Here's this, that sold. Here's another thing down here. It just sold, sold. You'll just see tons of different things that she has sold throughout here. So she's, like I said, that box is full of cast of things that she has sold and made things happen from here. But what I want to do is I want to take you to the right place. Now, if you're on, like I said, if you're on your app, then go to the middle button.
And he means the Facebook app. It's
the
not
Facebook
a special app. It's within your regular Facebook app for your phone.
Right. If you're on if you're following me on the regular thing, if you just click the little Facebook button, what's going to happen over here and on the left-hand side, this is probably the easiest way that I know to get there. On the left-hand side, you'll see, if you scroll down, it says Marketplace. That's what that's what the little button looks like. Pretty much it's not colorful in your Facebook app. So it looks like the same thing. You're just going to click on Marketplace. And when you do, you're pretty much inside here. It's very simple. You're going to see tons of people different selling. Now, I want to be clear, and what you see right here is where we live is in Peachtree City. And if you could know anything about Peachtree City, it's really kind of cool. I'll kind of get off topic, but it is really kind of cool place because we live in this amazing community with there's about 30,000 people live here. There's 10,000 golf carts. We actually have paths. We drive around the golf carts, do everything. And we've actually, I think you've met somebody when you sold something on a golf cart over at the Walmart parking lot, literally on a golf cart. So I bring that up is because it's kind of like when Craigslist, you know how you want to go to your specific area. Well, they auto recognize exactly where you're at when you go there. It knows we're in Peachtree City. That's where we're at. It'll know where you're at. So wherever you're at, it should know where you're at. Now, I want to be clear on that, and you want to say something once you go ahead and bring that up.
Well, you can choose how, if you're buying, your buyers can choose how far away. And you have categories and prices and fees. That's not something you're so worried about right now while you're listing, but it is good to know who you're attracting, because if it's something that people are actually actively searching for, they'll come a long way, probably further than you think. If it's we
were kind of shocked. I mean, we've had people, I met somebody just the other day, they came, I don't know, 50 miles away.
Yeah, the Matt.
Yeah.
People we ended
we have
up with
people
somebody
from Montgomery, people from Alabama.
Yeah, buyer ended up being 2 hours away, but we had somebody who was probably 4 hours that was going to come for it.
Yeah.
They just kind of came in at the same time.
So just to let you guys know, you have people from all over. Now, I do want to bring this up before we get in here. It's really important. I know I clearly said this when you guys got it, but I want to say that you have to be from the U.S., UK, Australia, or New Zealand to be able to make this work. And if you're wondering if you're not in those areas, it's probably not going to work for you. And I probably strongly urge you not to get in here. The other thing is you have to be 18 years of age in order for this to work, or you get I didn't say this, but I'm going to say this, or get access to somebody like my daughter, use my wife's account to be able to sell some of her stuff. And you have to have a Facebook account. So, and you guys saw that you cashed in the box, but this is where it is. And she's been selling stuff like crazy, and we're going to teach you exactly, and we're going to quit beating around the bush. We're going to take you around here and do this. Now, so let's just go over some things that you can sell. So here's, and then we'll go so we're going to go over the things that you can sell And then we're going to talk about some things from there that we've learned that can really help you. And then from that, we're going to share with you how to sell it, right? So, here, let's just talk about it. Now, as you can see over here on the left-hand side of where we're at right now, you do see that there's different categories. There's home and garden, there's housing, there's entertainment, clothes and accessories, there's family, there's electronics, hobbies, and there's vehicles and bicycles, and then there's classifieds. Now, just to go into home and garden, just to let you know that, just to give you some ideas of what you can sell. Inside home and garden, there's tools, there's furniture, there's gardens, there's appliances, and there's also household. In housing, basically when they say housing, they are talking about selling property and rental property. So just to be clear, if you've got something that you're selling or that you want to sell that's for the house, it's not in housing, it's home and garden. So inside there, we also have entertainment, which we're talking about books, movies, and music, and also video games. And then clothing and accessories, jewelry and accessories, bags and luggage, clothing and shoes, clothing and shoes, clothing and shoes.
And some people take opportunities to sell something that they make, like Etsy type item. Some people sell even things that they're selling, like maybe MLM type things. I don't know how well that works because I've not sold those, but it is pretty, I see it in there. So it's working for somebody.
Yeah. And then family is another thing, which you've got, toys and games, you got babies and kids, pet supplies, health and beauty. Not only that, if there's anything you want to talk about inside these, you're welcome to, then electronics. And then also outside of electronics and computers and stuff like that, we also have hobbies. So, sports and outdoors, music instruments. I know you guys could read this, but I just want to kind of be clear. Arts and crafts, and then antiques and collectibles. And I want to take you here for a certain reason because it's interesting. A lot of things. This is one of the suggestions right before we did this, and what kind of really inspired me to even it was like first it became an idea yesterday or the day before, and then it really got crystal clear. Like we got to sit down and record this because of I got a phone call, and the phone call was from somebody that I know. And he said, "Hey, I need somebody wants to make some quick cash. What can they do?" And I'm like, "Hey, my wife's doing this. You should do this too." So. And I bring that up, and the one thing I said to him is, I said, you want to be very careful with antiques and collectibles. What were you going to say?
I agree. It's a little bit of a different market.
Yeah, but there's a way around that, and we'll talk about that later. So pay close attention if you are going to sell antiques and collectibles. I've got some suggestions to be able to sell even quicker. But a lot of things,
I find that use items are just ridiculously easy to sell.
And what do you mean by use items?
Be it a sports equipment, something that a toy that somebody is going to use actively, particularly things that maybe men are shopping for, because there's not a lot of online places I think men are just comfortable with and readily viewing, because it will start, it's very easy to see things pop up in your list if you're a buyer. So that's going to give you a lot more exposure. But microwaves, all these things that people use in their household versus look at.
That's an interesting distinction. So pay close attention. And here's the great thing is, just because we said that doesn't mean, literally everything can sell. It's just about the way we're going to present. We're going to share with you the things to do when we're going in to sell something, because there's 4 steps you guys want to follow. When we go over those 4 steps, pay close attention to the little details that we're going to give you when you're inside there. Now, there's also vehicles and bicycles. This is where you want to be very careful. Well, I guess when you're buying, but really pay attention to Blue Book and things like that. There's auto parts, bicycles, cars, motorcycles, and then there's also classifieds. And classifieds, which would be your garage sales, miscellaneous, and services. So, just kind of really open your eyes up to the possibilities. These are kind of the things that you can sell. But I really want you to pay close attention to or listen to what she said with usable items. Now we're at where we want to get started, and we want to make this happen is, go into selling. So if you could, like if you haven't got here yet, you can follow around. You can pause this anytime you want to pause. But what we want to do is once you've decided, that's the first thing you got to do is make a decision on what you want to sell. Now, I wanted to have Stephanie tell you something that I thought was really, it would be really impactful for a lot of you guys when you're taking in consideration. Now, you can go find things, to sell, but, or get things to sell. I know some friends that are talking about, sourcing things from China to sell and then getting it and selling their things on here. However, if you've got things all around you, and I think it would be really good for Steph to share the concept you're talking about. Was it letting go or, the magic of...
I'll never say the exact right title, but the magic of tidying up. And it just that Marie Komodo book, I'll mutilate the whole thing. But anyway, I think everybody's seen a piece of that. And it's really the lady who talks about if you don't feel joy when you hold something, just let it go. And you don't even have to get that deep. There's got to be 10 things that you could walk around and touch right now that you could let go of. And you'd be happier that they're gone. So really, in this whole process of moving, we've cleaned out, but it was another chance to look at things afresh and see what really fit in our new space. And with that, there were some things Matt wanted to he said, I'll just pay somebody to haul it off. I'm like, no, just let me see what I can do. I don't want things to be wasted. So whether we donate it or I sell it. So I listed some things. And I'm looking, really, there's a ton of stuff that we did donate that we could have sold, but there's only so much time, I think, when you're moving. And that's why I say it wasn't an ideal time, because I was just constantly busy with the kids, a new puppy, and the move. So despite all that, we still sold all this stuff. There were things that Matt's like, nobody's going to want that, like a soccer uniform. Now, my daughter left it in great shape, but she's not going to play soccer again. And I knew that moms like to get it a little bit cheaper than going out and buying that new soccer uniform. So we listed it, boom. Somebody immediately.
In minutes, yeah.
And bought it for a friend that had just asked for that size. I listed the size, I showed the front and back. But I know a lot of the local soccer leagues, at least everyone we've been a part of in different cities, have one standard uniform. They may have a reversible or two shirts, but there's one thing that all the kids wear. So it makes it very easy to do things like that. And I'm sure your kids have outgrown some great jacket or something like that. Knickknacks, maybe there's a exercise tool you don't use anymore or a garden tool. There's something in your world that's kind of taking up space that is nice, but you just don't want it anymore. So this is a great way to make your life in your house better while put some cash in your pocket. And then when you do that, it gives you a chance to get a feel for how it works and how to phrase things. And we're going to teach you, Matt's going to teach you a lot about that today. But then you might want to just keep moving on and going and looking for more things. But I'm pretty sure you could go for quite a while with just the stuff around you.
Yeah, and not only that, I want to bring up, because this isn't just about like taking all your stuff and selling it, which you can. You can make some quick cash that way. But the other way is once you do that, you're going to get an eye. You're going to get an eye to know, hey, look, this stuff sells. I can sell this really quickly. I mean, you could always run by, like we went past an estate sale today. Literally it was like, hey, I could go sell this right now. I mean, I could sell this, pick it up for them for, I was telling them, for example, my daughter picked up a book. My daughter sells on Amazon, and she picked up a book, for $2, $5, or $2 and sold it for $60, so because she has an eye, she knows what to do. And she's, by the way, she's 11, so she knows how to do this too, so you guys could do it. But I bring that up because you guys can really scale this business, really scale it and turn it into a business. I mean, don't let don't let the fact that, hey, what kind of pushed us into the idea was the fact that, hey, we moved. Sometimes under pressure, diamonds created, and that's kind of what happened here. But the cool thing is this is a continuous thing that we can always do and always make happen. I've been telling everybody, like, hey,
I'm not nearly done.
Yeah. We just begun, and we want to share with you guys to get the beginning on here. So With that said, once you've decided in your head, like, hey, I'm going to sell something, all you got to do is just click on sell something. Now, if you're in the app, and Steph, if you could follow me along in the app.
I have to say one other thing.
Okay.
If you have kids that you want to encourage to get rid of something, if you tell them they're going to get money, they're a lot more able to let go of things.
Yeah.
I can promise you, things that they were going to bring that we knew it was time to let go of are like, well, I bet you could make whatever on that, and I'll give you all the cash. They're like, okay, let's sell it. So they did. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, no. So the thing is, if you can follow around on your phone, because I mean, Steph, in the phone, it looks a lot different like this. They actually take you through pages. So if you on the phone, when you're looking at your phone, if you just clicked on that and you did it, it really just asks you the questions. What are you selling? And then you just type in the words. What are you selling? So here it gives you everything on the computer. It's gonna ask you the same question. What are you selling? So if you make a decision on selling something, what are your suggestions here on this when when people are filling out this?
Well, on the phone, it's very simple because when you click after you click the marketplace icon, and then it says, what are you selling? You don't even have to go to your items or anything. You just go, what are you selling? When you click that, it immediately takes you to your pictures. So you can either take a photograph right then, or you can pull a picture that you've already taken. Then,
so how would you suggest?
Step by step.
But how would you suggest people when they're putting in what are you selling?
What
works the best?
You've got to think about how are people going to search for it. If you have a specific brand, like a great brand of some kitchen item you just don't use, maybe you have a KitchenAid mixer. Everybody loves those. Don't just say you have a mixer. Say you have a KitchenAid mixer. So, or if it's not a KitchenAid, at least say it's a stand mixer. Some people love stand mixers, some people love hand mixers. Make it easy for what people are actually going to search for. Because think about it. If you're looking for something, if I were looking for a new desk, I don't want a student desk. I don't want, a child's room desk. I want an executive desk. So I'm going to search executive desk. And if you have this nice desk that qualifies and you didn't say executive, you're not going to be in the top of my search. So you've got to think about it's your keywords. What you don't want to say too much in there, but you want to say, because you've got a chance to describe it, but you want to really have it. Some people are just going to flip through. So obviously your pictures are super important, but we'll talk about that later. But if I'm going to look for something, I am going to do a search by a particular term. And I'm not going to say a one-word search because I want to narrow things down. I might search for that if I don't get anything with my more complicated search. But I'm going to say that I want an executive desk. I'm going to say I want a KitchenAid mixer. I'm going to say that I want, I'm trying to think of other things, we've got or sold. I'm going to say I have a particular type of grill. I have, the design element, like the bedspread. It's not just anything. It's a girl's bedspread. It has a particular fun atmosphere. So that's the kind of things. But if it's a name brand, throw that name brand up there and definitely stick to what the item actually is, how people search it.
Yeah, and remember when you do this, you do have how many characters? 111? 110? Just yeah. When you're on there. Oh, and by the way, if you do hear, we have a little puppy, so he's got if you do hear a little crunching in the background, it's our dog chewing his toy. But when you are doing, you have 100 characters, right? So you do have a lot of room. And remember, you've got 100 characters, so you do have a lot of room to put it in there. But really, I think it's very important to what you say there. Now, I will give you another suggestion here. We did this the other day. with something because we needed urgent, because it was an urgent thing. We want to get rid of it quick. So I put flash sale. Like, you can do a flash sale. We changed the description. We put a new thing on there. But I did, I've done flash sales where it's, hey, we want to get rid of this. Come pick it now. We'll give you a discount. Things like that. So you could utilize things. Look at, and the number one biggest thing to do is look at what, if you're getting a newspaper, if you do get the newspaper, when there's sales coming out, think about like what kind of, hey, quick sale. You can call it flash sale. You can do different things like that in your subject line if you want to get rid of it fast. But I will tell you, people aren't really searching for flash sales. It was just a little marketing technique that I did. But for you,
it does support it when you get to the actual description and you say, this price if you pick up by, whatever date it is. And since we were moving, there was one item I hadn't listed for sale. I had one plan for it. That didn't work out. So we're like, I'm like, either we've just got to go donate this really nice piece of furniture, or we can just sell it for cheap. And by selling it for cheap, Matt didn't actually have to make the trip to haul it to the...
I didn't have to pick it up.
donation center, which because they couldn't come in time. So we decided last minute sell it, and he put in the flash sale, and we're like, okay, in the description, it's this price, but you have to pick it up by tomorrow at whatever time. So people, if anybody, typically with furniture, people are going to browse a little bit. Well, women are. Men probably not. But women are going to look at something, come back to it a couple of days later, that kind of thing. When you tell them they've got to pick it up, and that's the only way to get this super low price, they get it, and they're going to make that decision faster. However, the price kind of has to support what you're saying.
Right.
So that is not for all the time, I think.
Yeah, and so now, so the first thing they're asking for here is, what are you selling? The first thing they ask you in the app is, what are you selling? The next thing they ask you here is, to add the price.
But in the app, when they say it, they take you to the photos. They don't actually let you type anything in right then.
Yeah, so just so you know, it's the same thing, different flow. But adding the price. Now, how do you price your stuff?
Well, the interesting thing is if there are items with the same description in there, they will actually give you a price range.
Yep.
And it's usually a pretty good... then you know where it is. If not, I would either look and see what that item is within Facebook. I would look within eBay, or I might just know what I have to have for it.
So wait, hold
make
on.
It worth it.
So let me be clear. Sometimes you can come in, like some people could say, you could come in and say, here's my flat price that I'm willing to sell this for. And you might have to run to that. If there's nobody else selling anything similar or has the same, where it says what they're selling, what they're doing is they're analyzing and looking for other people that have the same, which really is the same headline, same title, like yours. What is your selling actually is the title or the headline.
Right.
So if there's nothing that's similar, it won't give you suggestions, but it will give you suggestions if there's similar stuff out there, so you can utilize that. Now, you could utilize that. You could come in with your cold hard, here's what I want. But I will tell you, when you are doing it, you probably want to, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but you might want to say, here's what I'm willing, now raise it up a little bit, because we're going to negotiate with you. I mean, that's I'm trying to say probably one way.
You don't want to go so far as to scare anybody off, but
right.
most people are going to ask for a little something off. It's just that kind of market. And especially if you want to let people know that you're open to that, put or best offer, the OBO. The great thing about that is if you have some hot selling product and you have 5 people hit you up immediately, you can take the highest offer from those people. I wouldn't leave anybody hanging for any long amount of time if it's something you really want to sell. But certainly if everything comes in within, the first or the same half an hour or couple of hours, you can look through and talk to each of them and like, okay, well, and see what they're looking to offer. Some people, if you tell them, hey, I've got 3 more people who are looking at this, they'll probably be willing to go higher if they're truly interested.
Yeah, so that's really, that's something to think about, is to have it go up a little bit, just because, that you are going to you could run into the fact that people are going to hit you up and going to ask you to ask you to negotiate a little bit. The other thing is too is
and if nobody asks you to drop the price and you get 3 offers, you priced it too low.
Yeah, and you will have it. We've had that where we've had to tell somebody like, hey, it's basically, hey, what are you willing to offer for this? What is this other person willing to offer for this? That's what happened on the the wrestling mat.
Yeah.
Like people were like, we had a bidding war kind of a sense, and it was just a matter of who can send the money the fastest. Now, with that being said, before we get into adding the price, you're probably wondering how you're going to get the money. How is the money going to get in your account? Now, most people pay in cash. That's why we showed it to you. What you didn't see is the PayPal transactions. What we did, we took 100% cash. We never took checks. We said no checks. Or people PayPal. So you can actually, we've had people PayPal. If you don't have a PayPal account, you can have people PayPal. I do like cash. Cash is king. Over everything else. To make that happen. So, but on the pricing, when you're adding your pricing, like I said, that pops up. You can look at. She even suggested, and maybe you didn't hear it, but she even said going to eBay. A lot of times now it's here. Go to eBay. She's Googling it, looking at Google, inside Google when she's typing it in. There is where you're selling on Google, and you can actually see what other people are selling it for. So, so that's something to think about and to realize that people are going to try to move it down a little bit. But some people, if they really desire it, they're going to just pay the whatever price you put on there. So, but look at the comparables. If there is comparables, do you have any suggestions? If there's other similar offers, would you have any suggestions about that?
Well, you've got to, like anything, you just got to make it super attractive. Show whatever features you have that maybe that other one doesn't.
Well, in the pricing.
Okay, well, it all kind of goes in the pricing. I mean, you've got to support your pricing with the other parts of the offer. This is really it. But honestly, if I'm not super attached to something, I will probably just go a few dollars less than the other one.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's an expensive, how many dollars less is how much does it cost? And speaking on prices, that's one interesting thing about being able to do this so super local. If you have, like the kids had a Lego set still with the box, they wanted to sell for $8. Well, because we have the neighborhood, somebody's willing to just walk over and bring something. You probably won't get somebody driving across the state to pay you $8 because it's probably just not going to be worth their time. But it was kind of cool because the kids were able to sell some of the smaller items like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like if I had seen another similar Lego set for $10, I would have made me choose the $8. It really depends on what your price range is on all that.
Yeah, and we'll get into kind of what she's alluding to, how we kind of leave and leverage the neighborhood and other things like that. But talking about that, right here, one of the things that it automatically knew exactly where I'm at, where we're at right now, because we are in Peachtree City, and her phone knows she's in Peachtree City too. The reason for that is because, like I said, it lets people know, hey, you're in Peachtree City, and when people are looking to buy your stuff, they're going to say, hey, I want to, find things so many miles away. So they're going to key in off of that. Facebook or the marketplace is going to automatically key in off of that so that you do know. So that's what that's about. Now, selecting the category, like we said, you want to find the one that makes sense. Is there any category suggestions and strategies that you have, Steph, that you want to share with people? When you did, what did you do? How did you make the decision of picking the categories?
Really, some things are super obvious, some things are not. And I just looked, where would I go look for this? Where were there things that people seem to be selling similar items there? Because if you think it goes in appliances, but there is nothing like it in there, you better keep looking. Because if nobody else is selling it there, then nobody else is looking there. Yeah.
So that's a good thing on selecting and making things happen from there. Be careful going to miscellaneous.
Never go to miscellaneous.
Yeah, be as clear. I mean, you should have.
There's also a marketplace or something down at the bottom, or something along the lines of garage sale. I wouldn't put anything in there if I could help it.
Unless you're really having, here it is right here, garage sale.
Really
you're really having a garage sale.
A full garage sale. And honestly, if I were having a garage sale, and I wanted to attract people, I would list it under garage sale, and then I would list at least two of my best items separately other places to try to pull those people into the garage sale to buy that.
Yeah. So now it says describe your item. They say it's optional. I don't believe this is an optional thing at all. And actually, while you're looking at the screen right here, look at this right here. It says giant sale, nothing underneath. That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. Us as marketers, or if you're a marketer, maybe you're not a marketer, but I'm going to tell you, it'd be stupid to waste. You have a place to write some copy to get people to look at things. But when you're describing, I don't think of this. It was dumb them putting optional here. But you know what? They don't care if you sell or not because they're not making any money. But I care. I want you to make money. So I'm telling you, do not call this optional. This is not optional. This is something you got to do. Now, when you come in to describe your item, and I will tell you, this can make or break you. And I mean, the big thing is your pricing. I mean, all these things can really do it. You don't put yourself in the right category. That can really hurt you. So make sure you put yourself in the right category. You don't price it right. Look at what other suggestions out there. You want to be careful. But the other thing is what you're selling, the title. But the big thing is what you say here also is really important. And so, Steph, do you have anything to share? Like, that could really give some big tips on when you're describing your items and when you're putting your items up.
Well, I'm going to leave the more marketing side of that to you specifically. But obviously, you want it to sound, whatever is great about it, let them know. Do you love it because it still works perfectly, you just don't use it anymore? Well, even if it's not new, but it works great, tell them, works perfectly, works great. There's nothing wrong with it, not a scratch or a couple of scratches, but runs perfectly. Those are kind of things people are concerned about. They want to know that you're not getting rid of it because it's a piece of junk. So you want to let them, even if you could add a little bit of reason, like, hey, I'm moving. Yeah. Love this item. I just don't have room for it. I can't take anything else with me. That kind of thing. That's a great thing to do. Also, if you're selling anything, almost any item, let them know what size it is. Spend a few minutes taking the measurements. We had one frame that Madison listed, and people thought it was a huge set of wall frames, but it was for 4x6s. They thought it was.
We're talking about our 11-year-old.
Yeah, the 11-year-old. Sorry, listed this, and I saw it because I saw the question, which leads to another thing, and I was like, oh, the way she did it looked like it was a huge thing. So I had to go in and fix that. But it was an important thing because once I said, okay, this holds 4x6 pictures, it's, I could give the overall size, etc. If you've got an item that's made out of wood, people like that versus I can't tell it's resin, plastic, something like that. Let people know. Those are sales features. If it's super light or it's a very sturdy, heavy thing, let them know. But size is essential. We sold a couple of bigger items that folded. One I didn't even realize it folded until somebody asked the question. And I was like, you know what? I bet it does. So I went out, folded it, figured out how tall it was, what the dimensions were, folded. So then they're like, okay, I can slide that under my bed or I can put that in my car. Those were super important things. And then once I adjusted that, the item sold. Let's see, I would say description, there was a couple more things, but the size is so important. And questions. If somebody asks you a question even once, somebody else is wondering. Somebody else has bypassed your sales item because they did not know the answer and they didn't want to bother to wait for the answer. So, like I said again, be very clear. If it's not clear what color it is, what size, what model, brand, list all of that in your description along with good reasons that it's a great item.
Yeah, and I think actually she nailed the one thing I want you to really think about is, for us, it was really cool. It's like she, it was something like, hey, we got to, give them a reason why. Like, hey, for example, because I couldn't believe we actually sold it, was the treadmill. Like, the treadmill sold really quickly. And the reason was, funny, I'm giving the reason, but the reason was because we gave a reason. And the reason we gave them was, hey, now we're going to use the clubhouse to, my husband's now going to use the clubhouse, decided to use the clubhouse. So, look for a reason why.
Because it was totally true.
There was nothing wrong because that means that, because instead of like, oh, there's something wrong with it, like remove the idea there's something wrong. Well, there better not be anything wrong with it. If there is something wrong with it, put it on there. But if there's nothing wrong with it, remove the idea of, the fact that there could be something wrong.
Remove the question.
Yeah.
And
if there
you hit another thing.
Go ahead.
We also said how that treadmill was almost new.
Yeah.
It wasn't new. It had been used, but it hadn't been used a lot.
Yeah.
Because we really embraced walking outside and going to the clubhouse since we've been here. So those were reasons we need to let them know, and the fact that it was almost new.
Yeah. Literally probably used 5 times. But and I bring that up too is because another thing that she did in one of her things is showing proof that, hey, this sells on eBay. I saw her put a link to it, like, hey, you get the same thing on eBay for this much. However, I'm selling it for this much, and that worked really well. So something to think about is like, proving. It's like, hey, you can get it here for this price, or you can get it for here for this price. Works really good. And a lot of your descriptions too if you actually know exactly what it was and research it before you do it, you can kind of, go get it. Like if you bought it at Home Depot or wherever, I mean, a lot of that data is already there. You can take the description and put it inside there. But I think what's really important is if there's scuffs, there's issues, if there's, little nicks, or there's a little thing, it's like, there's a little thing on the bottom nobody will see. Like, just tell them. We found selling on Amazon, we would sell stuff on Amazon. We found that, hey, the more kind of transparent you're on, and it justifies the whole thing.
It actually makes people trust you.
Yeah, it does. And that's important.
If you tell them it's almost new or it's like new, and then they come up and they see a big, huge scratch on the top, they are not going to trust you on the fact that it really does work great. So just go ahead and tell them. I mean, you don't want somebody being shocked. You put time into meeting them and you're excited, you're going to get paid, and then you lose the sale. It's just not a good experience for anybody. So just go ahead and tell them, because I would rather know, honestly, if somebody tells me, it's a little banged up. My son sold his one of his motor vehicle things, motorbikes, and I told him, I said, it was well loved.
Yeah.
It works perfectly, works great. I said, works great, but it's well loved.
Yeah.
So they knew what that meant. He's a little boy,
So in your description, just pay close attention to those things. Be as transparent as possible. Put little things inside there. I mean, put little things inside and give them a reason why. Especially if you have one. If you don't, it's okay. But I'll tell you, it does. Especially it allows people to not question, why you're getting rid of it. There's something. Don't gets out of their mind why if there's something wrong. Now, like I said, I'll kind of go back to one thing is. We didn't really hit on this, but the fact that you might want to be careful. Like sometimes listing things separately does help. I don't know if you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, that actually was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in some of my researching items, I'll see, it'll be listed for $1, and then you see one picture. And then when you open it up, they've got several items, and they just put $1, and then they got like $20, $30, something for each of them. Well, first off, I don't want to flip through all your pictures. If I don't see it, if it doesn't come up in my search, or I don't see it immediately, a picture that I'm attracted to, because let's face it, we all respond to pictures. We know that from the Facebook scroll, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the feed, news feed.
Yeah, news feed. And and then you just told me it was $1, but there's nothing in there that's $1. So there's just a little bit of ick in there. So don't give people any ick. But I don't know what you were going to say it's particularly. Plus, how is anybody going to search for it? They're not going to be attracted to your great looking pictures, your headline. You just hid everything from everybody.
Yeah. So now that brings us down to the pictures and the photos, and and this is really, it's really important to take good pictures, and I'll let Steph talk about it because she took them all. I didn't. I did one, and I'll give you guys some things if she doesn't hit on them. Some things that I've discovered and that I think is really important when it comes to pictures. But Steph, why don't you hit on what you found?
Well, I'm pretty horrible at taking pictures, so you don't have to be a pro, but you want to make sure you have good lighting and you get different angles. If it's a piece of furniture, make sure you open the drawers, let them see what's in there, because you can take several pictures. If you're only taking one picture of an item, you are hurting yourself. It only takes a second, because literally you're holding your phone, you take the picture, and then it says, do you want to use this picture? And you're like, hit the use button. Then you go to the next, then it comes back up again. It's like, okay, do you want to hit next and do the next part of the description? Or you want to take another picture? Well, I'm going to take another picture. And you can even change the order that they're in right there just by clicking on them. Whatever order you click and pick your pictures is what order they're listed on the ad. So good lighting, you want to take a picture a little bit from a distance so they get the overall view of something, and then get closer. Maybe like there again, if it's a particular brand, you want to get a picture of that logo.
Yeah.
So they know what it is. Or models. A lot of times if it's a refrigerator, anything that has like an item number more complex that they can search up the manual online. If you have the manual, make sure you photograph that as well, because people are very excited if they have the instructions and the manuals and everything that goes with it. Photograph all those items. If you are selling a microwave and it had some little plug-in or some little extra basket with it, take a picture, include all that. But take a picture of electronics, the back of it. It's not pretty, but then people get all kinds of information from that. They can look it up for themselves, and it gives them a very good feeling if they're people who want to really do that kind of research. Also, I was looking at the desk, and while people took some great pictures of the drawers and with the side that you face, nobody took a picture. Not one person that I found took a picture of the front of the desk.
In the back.
They took pictures of this side where I'm sitting. They did not take what somebody walking into the room would see. Nobody did. And, I was like, wow.
Well, so we're taking all angles.
Yeah, take all angles. They did a great job getting the side, but nobody got the front. So get all the sides. Even on the dresser, I made sure to take a picture of where the power cord goes through. There's a place for that. The drawers are lined. I wanted people to be able to see some of that. Let's see. You go.
Go ahead. Yeah. Well, I was going to say that, the big thing to understand is the marketplace lets you add up to 10 pictures per listing. So you do have a limitation of 10 pictures. I ran into that issue when I was taking pictures of my baseball cards because I wanted to take so many. But you do have up to 10 pictures. So take that also in consideration when you are doing it. But, but people really want to see what the item looks like. If the bottom line is that, and you want to be authentic. So use your own pictures. Do not get stock crap, because people want to know what the heck they're getting, and use your own pictures. And at least take what Steph was bringing up, at least take 3 or more, photos from different angles. Because, this allows them to get an idea what the heck they're getting, because they want to be able to feel, and imagine this in their home or in their house or wherever they're going to do with it. And then also, try to take the entire item. It's really important. Take the whole entire item, but also before you're shooting, before you take this thing, make sure you actually clean it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Clean it. Wipe your fingerprints off, whatever, the electronics, just clean the thing. That's really important. And when you're doing it, this is one thing I did with the baseball cards.
And where you take it.
Yeah. And where you take, well, I was going to say that, remove all the clutter, you don't want it to look like, hey, this is sitting on a dirty desk. Like, I literally laid everything out. As I thought about it, I was like, if I put it in the closet, there's all this other stuff in the closet. People will kind of get confused on what they're getting. So I actually laid them all out all over the floor. It's huge, I don't know how many I had, but thousands upon, 25, 50, maybe even 100,000 baseball cards. I just laid them out, let people see, like, oh, here's all this is everything, inside there. So I wanted to kind of bring that up for you guys to know, is remove all the clutter, from there. And if you don't have good lighting in your house, which you probably don't, go outside and use natural lighting. The other thing is open up the windows. And that's one thing that I did with the baseball cards, is open up the windows to be able to make that happen. But,
and use the flash on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's not don't just have it on flash, actually turn it on, not auto, so that the flash has to go off. And you'll see which way you need it. But yeah, you don't want shadows. You want it to be super clear. And something else you said, taking the all angles, taking the instructions book. This is a question that came up for me trying to sell Brian's Legos for him. I had just listed some of the types of sets there were, but I didn't, and I took pictures that show there were books, but I didn't lay all the books out so they could see them. And then I went back because I had the question, so I laid out all of his instruction books and kits and that we still had, and took a couple of pictures of those so they could really see what there was and what people could reasonably put together, and added that. It's made a huge difference.
Yeah, and so I mean, basically, once you have those things, once you have those things in place and taking in consideration everything that we talked about, you're pretty much ready to post. And I will tell you, like on the app, it is a little different order because it goes what you're selling, then you put the picture, and then you do the description, and then you pick the category. It's a little bit opposite, but it's all the same, right? But then you post it, and once you post it, you go out. Now, here's the big thing to know. Is you can just not post. It'll allow you to post this in the marketplace. But the trick, and this is one of the things that Steph did really, really well on, is she not just added into the marketplace, but you can also go out to and find other places and join other groups that you can post it in other groups. And it says, and it's specifically groups.
Right.
It's specifically groups that you can post it in. And so when she talked about earlier, like the neighborhood and stuff like that, like how does she? Well, our neighborhood has a classified, section where people can buy and sell. It's like we sell
Facebook group.
Yeah, Facebook group. So she joined that Facebook group and she put her stuff in there, and a lot of the sales came from that. Quite honestly,
yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. The marketplace, a lot of people from outside the city, they did that. But the other thing is there is buy sell groups all over, and if you can join some buy sell groups that make sense with the listing, and I want to be clear. You can join tons of them. There's more generic and general ones that you belong to. But with the baseball cards specifically, let me just share with you, I join collectors of baseball cards. If I'm selling baseball cards, to me, it made sense. Like, let me go out and I was going to sell all the collections that I had when I was collecting baseball cards when I was a kid. And I bought every kid's name, every single person that had collections, I bought their collections from. So I got like tons of collections when I was a kid because I used to, buy and sell stuff and had a paper out, so I'd have money and I was able to buy them. But I bring that up is because I went out and I went to other groups specifically. Other groups that are out there that had to do with, and they were local, they were, within a radius that are buy sell groups. They buy and sell and trade baseball cards, and that's where I was able to. When I listed mine, I went boom, 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 and hit all those places because that just makes sense because they're collectibles. So when I bring up collectibles, if you find people that are interested in those collectibles, it does make sense if you have those groups outside the marketplace because that's really where, and they're going to trust Facebook because they're using Facebook as the buy sell group. But that's a big thing to do, and I don't know what the limitation is on how many you can do. I don't know if we hit the max on that yet. So I don't know if there is a limitation on how many places you can actually post. There might not be. So you can join as many groups as you want. Can you give them some ideas of the groups that you have, or can I go find them somewhere?
You can start looking, but I can tell you first I started with the neighborhood, obviously.
Oh, so right here, you guys can see, since this is our neighborhood, you can go in, or you have your neighborhood one. There's another one. This is a good example.
This one I only found because I was listing in Marketplace and it said, do you want to list in these other places? I didn't even have to join this one. I did join a couple specifically for selling these things, but this was in the area. What I did was I selected, obviously, the neighborhood. I made sure that I got something in the overall town, and then the 2 or 3 little towns that are right around us. Because I knew those were going to be people that were like, oh, that's not a far drive, because it's not. And they would be willing to hit more things. Because it's very, very easy for them to spend, 5 minutes to drive over. So that was really what I was targeting for the kind of items I was selling. Now, collectibles, that takes a little more
Yeah.
focus.
And you might want to, post and then join, then submit onto there. Or you could go and before, once you decide what you're doing, at the beginning you decided, hey, I'm going to sell this. Now what you're going to do before you actually list it, go out and join those groups, get approved for those groups, and then post it. And then when you go through, add into the group and you go through, because it's through that process when you are adding it in there. Now, so
also moms groups. If you have kids items,
yeah,
moms groups, very important. That's something when I list more things in the future, I'm definitely going to focus on.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. Now, so let's go through the process. So you're going to post it up. Now it's posted. Now you got it up there, right? So what's next? What next is usually there's conversations.
Yeah. Well, first I would go look at it to make sure it looks like you think.
Okay. That's a good suggestion.
So that's a Matt thing to do. That's not a me thing to do. But I learned that from Matt.
Well, remember when I listed and I wrote a word, I wrote excluded or instead of included.
Yeah.
I was typing on my phone. I did it really quick, and I said excluded, and I meant included. So I said with the baseball cards, I'm like, excludes my rookie cards because I found out they're the most valuable thing. Now imagine it's supposed to say including rookie cards that I found the most valuable thing. Oh my gosh, that dramatically changed.
They changed the whole deal.
Yeah, I had to hurry up and fix that one. So pay close attention to make sure you say it right, make sure it looks right, make sure it comes up the way you want it.
And speaking of looking right, this is one thing, I'm sorry to jump back on the pictures, but this is something, it kind of fits in here. Because on the phone, your pictures, I don't know if you've seen it on other things, like maybe somebody's header picture on their Facebook account, the heads are cut off, like somebody posts a group picture. Well, when you click on that picture in your Facebook ad, it will show the whole picture. People do not realize they can click on it. So when you're taking a picture, leave some blank space around it.
White space.
White space. If I'm taking to take a picture of a dresser, I'm going to go way back. So there's, I have a foot of space around it because that's going to get cut off. And then I'm going to take my up close pictures to show this cool handle or that cool thing inside the drawer.
So now let's get to the point. So now we wrote, we've got it, we posted it. We not just posted it, we double checked it to make sure everything looks great, everything's perfect. And now somebody hits us up, like literally with you, like minutes later or hours later, the next day, depending on the pricing and depending on what it is, it could be instantly. So what's going to happen next? Like how do people, how do they communicate with you?
Well, the Facebook sets it up so they actually come through Facebook Messenger. So I have the Messenger app on my phone as well, which made it easier to communicate to them than logging into Facebook and going into the marketplace.
So, okay, but when they're getting up on Facebook, Messenger, they're not going to call you. They're not going to do anything. This is all.
They don't have my number.
No one have your number. So they're going to be hitting up through Instant Messenger. The number, one of the most important things is to respond back immediately.
Yes.
Or as fast as you possibly can, respond back to them because they're going to might be off. Then that's going to be the difference between you and somebody else. A lot of people are idiots, meaning they don't respond. I'm telling you that because I really think this person is an idiot. They got something listed. I'm trying to get it. We hit them up 3 times. They haven't responded to me.
We can't buy it locally. We tried. In the store.
For
we can't.
A product that I'm trying to get. And it's like, are you serious? How stupid are you? And you wonder why.
We actually asked 2 different people.
Yeah.
And I've actually, on the desk thing, I asked 4 people to send me a picture of the front of their desk.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten one back. So that's another thing. Just because there's a ton of products similar to yours, you might be the only one who responds.
If you are the only one who responds, you're going to want to get the deal.
Yeah.
You don't have to see them until you get their cash. So, but respond to them, respond to them because they're going to ask you a question. Just say, oh, yeah, whatever. So they're going to hit you up on Messenger. What's the most common things that people are going to, how does the deal go down? Go ahead.
Well, one thing, though, also on the response, not only is that going to keep you in the loop and get sales, Facebook records that. They record how fast and if you respond. And they let people know, like, this is a good responder. This person responds quickly. And it will show you a stat of how fast you respond and how much you respond to people. So even if your item's sold, you better go ahead and mark it as sold. And if somebody messaged you, go ahead and let them know. Hey, sorry, this is already sold. Because Facebook is keeping those stats. So I guarantee you, it is affecting where you show up. and how often you show up. So sorry, but the kind of questions, some of the things I had on before, the questions I got, they all told me that I needed to add something to my listings. They didn't
unless really tell you that. They just asked you a question.
They asked me a question.
And you heard it, and that's using the ear of a marketer is hearing it as, hey, I should go. If they ask me a question.
If they ask me how big it is, I'm like, obviously I should have put that, but I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I went back and fixed it. But other than something that just meant I needed to fix my ad, other than that, the questions were generally like, hey, specifically, even though you said it works great, maybe they'll ask you, or how heavy is this? Can one person load this?
Yeah, because they want to pick it up. I mean, basically, they're buying questions.
Yeah, buying questions. Can I load this? So to the dresser, which was quite heavy, was like, my husband will help you. I didn't say, no, I don't think you can pick it up, but I said, my husband will help you, because that was a true answer. It was what they really wanted to know. They might ask you, will you take a certain price?
And then your response back to that should be, what price were you thinking?
Yeah. If they don't, sometimes they'll say, will you take this price?
Yeah.
But yeah, and yes, absolutely. That's definitely.
And I think if somebody does do that to you, the first thing to say is if you have it listed a certain price, say, what price are you thinking? If they come back and they say something that you're interested in, my personal opinion is, and this is what I know we do, is like, hey, well, if you come get it now, then I'll honor that price. The deal is not sealed until you get the cash. It's not like, now we have had people going to be out of town. It's like, hey, we have other people. If you want to go ahead and send it, PayPal us the money.
Or cash.
Yeah,
that's
or
a great
bring
app.
over cash.
Cash there's an app called Cash.
Oh.
Does not charge fees like PayPal, so love it.
Oh.
It's kind of new to me. It's not new to everybody.
Yeah,
it's new
Cash. So what is this? I didn't know about this.
Yeah,
she's popping it up for me.
Yeah, so there's an app called Cash, and just Cash, spelled like cash, and you can actually send money without PayPal fees. So you could actually just send the person there if they're open to it. Otherwise, just take the PayPal fee and get your money.
Yeah, because so that you can, and then you tell them, hey, I'm going to mark this as sold, or if you want to, if you want me to mark it as sold, then PayPal, I'll get you right now. Get the cash if you can. If not, 9 times out of 10 they're going to show up with cash. They're going to meet you, and that's an important thing. Once you do seal the deal, you can see right there is you have 3 items for sale. Please mark any items that you sold. So I guess that's inside this area because I think everything you've got marked as sold.
Yeah, I probably need to. That's a couple of things that I would like to say on this is if you do list it to several marketplaces and you sell it, not all of them update with the marketplace, with Facebook Marketplace. Some do, but a lot of times if it's one of these private Facebook groups or public Facebook sales groups, you actually have to go in there and mark the item as sold. It only takes a second, so it's not a big deal.
So basically, you can kind of see like right here, all her listings that she has right there, when they're sold and stuff like that. And you can see now, and then the conversations, you can see, I think that's actually the post underneath the post. But right over here, you can see like she's got a couple things that are left. More things are getting added soon, and it's just basically you can continuously keep on doing this. But like for example, this Lego set right here is actually we're waiting for the lady to come back, so we did not mark it as sold until we actually get cash in hand.
Yeah, I don't have cash in hand, but she is out of town until Monday, and I told her I would wait on her.
Yeah, but it's important to be crystal clear like that, and I will tell you, I think. Some people want to market it as sold so they can show everybody that, hey, my stuff sells. Honestly, until we get cash in hand, to me, it's not sold.
Yeah. Plus, if you do it, it might confuse people. Some people will say, "Oh, you marked it as sold. I thought you sold it to somebody else." They really don't assume you're on the same page with that. So if they send you cash, just say, "Hey, I got the cash. I'm going to mark it as sold." If they send it through an app. Another thing with updating, like keeping all the places updated, which honestly, it takes 2 seconds. It's just a click, click, click. One interesting thing that the way I sold the safe was, I had a notification that I had a message. Well, I looked in the forum. The message was not there. The person had deleted it. And at that point, I was like, really, like, did they delete it, or am I just not finding it? Because they didn't do it through the messenger, that they actually did it in that private Facebook group. So I messaged the person on Facebook and said, hey, I saw that you wrote a message about this item, but I can't find it. Did you want to come look at it? And he had kind of changed his mind. He was like, kind of talked himself out of it. And because I did that, he ended up coming over and buying it.
Yeah.
So
don't, I mean,
follow up even when there's not a message.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's really important. I mean, communication is kind of the key, just talking. I mean, don't, people like to, people do that. And plus, here's the other thing is, we've had people come in and say, well, ask us like, hey, look, somebody asked me like, hey, you selling that too? They went in the garage to get something, like, hey, you selling that too? I was like, let me ask my wife. Yeah, we're selling it. Like, we'll sell it. What do you how much do you want for it? Let me go. And then I did the deal there, right?
Yeah,
so you can pick up some
I did
extra.
that too. I had a few items go with the guy who bought the microwave.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And another thing I've done, kind of similar to what you're saying, is an online sale like that. I had some similar items, like I had the 3 dolls. I had listed those all. The mom wanted a couple of them, and anyway, she ended up going ahead and asking for all 3. But had she not asked for all 3, I was going to tell her, like, hey, I do have 2 similar things here listed. Another person, before they bought the one item I sold, I had a very similar item. It was actually the vintage Barbie airplane, and I had a friendship. The friendship actually never got listed because I was looking at him like, she'll probably want this too. So I just wrote her back and I said, hey, and I sent a couple of pictures. I'm like, I was about to list this, but I wanted to see if you wanted it as well. And she's like, oh yeah, how much? I told her, and she said, absolutely. So I never even listed that, and I sold it to someone because I knew they had that specific interest.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that once they are sold, once you have it sold, you got the cash in hand, and mark it as sold. I mean, it looks good. It tells people to leave it alone, and it doesn't take that many views in order to make it happen. I'm just looking at this. But once you do, and this will get marked as sold here shortly, from there, but then, to mark them there, and then they'll be in your sold area. So you can go in here, see your, and a lot of it, you're just collecting cash. Now, so, I mean, once it's sold, I mean, that's pretty much it. The deal's done, unless you have anything else, anything else that, like what she said, that might make sense for them to get, or especially on their way over. But I mean, this is literally, I mean, all you've got to do to be able to make this happen is literally go through there, listen to it, and you're done. I mean, just make sales, and collect cash. And, really, I will tell you, you follow our instructions, and you'll be able to make some really fast cash, some quick cash, on the Facebook Marketplace. Yeah,
and it's really fun when you see you have a message and it's money.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's especially when that move, it was really awful July heat, and you're just getting tired, and I would say, oh, I need to sit down and check my phone. So I would sit down in the air, check my phone, and somebody wants to buy something. Hey, I don't have to move that, and I'm getting cash. So that was just really a delight. It was a bright spot in amongst a bunch of boxes.
Well, yeah, and that being said, too, is getting back to something you said. I mean, because we're about to go, outside of that, we got a whole new slew that's coming in right now, because we're going to say, hey, for us is, hey, does this bring joy in our life still? And then, and honestly, it sounds kind of weird, but it's like, hey, thanks. It's like, there was things. I just, saw it the other day, there was a jacket I had from going to a Super Bowl, a long time ago. It served its purpose. It's done, there's little things that you have that, hey, look, if you haven't touched it in a year, I mean, sometimes you might want to let it go. A lot of times we're way too attached to things. You want to let it go. I mean, you can't imagine how much money it will make. But then some of you guys are going to be able to take this. And so some people are going to make some really quick cash. Some people are going to turn this into a business. And you can. You have an opportunity to turn this into a business, to go sell some things that you've got. And then from there, kind of get an eye. And then, either people, my daughter, what she does on Amazon, which you can do here, same thing, is literally once she knows what sells, you can go into to Goodwill, go into thrift stores, go into different places like that. You can go pick up stuff for pretty cheap. Then go put them on. Put them on
yard
there.
sales right at the end of the day when people are ready to get rid of their stuff.
Oh,
you find something that comes into your area. It's, if you think about it, selling some things that you already have is just a launching pad. Those are things you know about. So whatever sells the hottest, sometimes the fastest, but whatever brings the most interest, you know that is an area that you can sell more stuff in. And it's something that if you own the item, you probably know enough about it to go out and buy other items. So it really is a great way to branch into this as a, however much time you want to spend for selling items. It's simple. It's easy. It's super safe way to get in when you just start with your own items and you're not paying any fees. You didn't have to pay anything to open an account. It's kind of perfect.
Yeah, and it is. And the cool thing is, it works now and it puts money in it puts results in your pocket pretty quickly. So, go out there and do it. Like I said, it's simple as 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I think you can kind of work on your marketing copy too for other items.
Yeah, so, just get better and to know and take in the things that we said and utilize those. And I guarantee you'll start selling right away. So, anyway, thank you guys for getting this. Appreciate each one of you guys. And you know what? Go out there and fill your coffins full of cash. All right. You guys have a good one. Take care.
Bye.